a comment about the issue over in Texarkana. Y'all remember what was going on, don't you? Yes, the judge wanted to take prayer and the invocation out of the minutes, and the county clerk wouldn't do it, and so they're indicting the county clerk, and they say she could go to prison for what she did. And so it's really. Now, I did find out last Friday, I got an email from Jeff, which is the leader of the Bowie County Patriots, and they did put this back into the minutes. Go ahead.
Last Monday, I went to the county commissioners' court meeting, and that was brought up that they weren't supposed to have prayer or the pledge or anything. And he asked the county clerk, and she says it's on the agenda, and we do what's on the agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Now, what she say again? Repeat that again.
Monday morning at the county commissioners meeting, meets at 9 o'clock. It opens with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they go into the rest of the meeting. And Judge Chris Brown.
Yeah. Chris Brown.
He made the comment that there had been some papers sent out that they were not to pray and not to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And he asked the county clerk about it. She says it's on the agenda and we have to do what's on the agenda. And he said, well, I hope you don't get in trouble. So that's...
Praise the Lord. Yeah. Where did they get this information from?
He gave it. I don't know who it was.
Come from the government someplace?
Someplace it came to him, and he commented about it, but I don't know who he said. They don't...
Did he stand up for it, or was he wishy-washy about it? Was he going to stand up and say, I don't care what they say, we're going to say prayer in the Pledge of Allegiance, or did he say, well, maybe we might, maybe we won't?
No, he didn't say either one.
They did it.
Okay.
So, but what I'm getting at, it meets on the second and fourth Mondays at 9 a.m. I happen to be the only idiot that goes up there almost every week.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
No, yeah, well, this is in Hopkins County, but it was very interesting.
Well, that's the reason why the judge and them were dealing with that over in Bowie County. And Jeff Aiken is the leader of the Bowie County Patriots over there, and they're very strong on the Constitution. They're very strong on these things, and they lead a group of people who are keeping up tabs with all of it. And now, just to give you an idea, in our legislature, the 82nd legislature, this has kind of changed a little bit, but interesting to know, Erwin Cain got a grade from the Fiscal Responsibility Index of a A+ in Congress this time. So Erwin, our representative, he did a great job standing up for conservative issues in the state Congress. And our senator, Bob Dole, guess what grade he got? F. Bless his heart. I mean, man, he ought to know better, you know it? Now, I already made that comment about the Muslims and what Franklin Graham said. The handouts, if you will look at your handout, you have a copy of the national anthem. You have 5 stanzas in the national anthem. I had finally got hold of this, and so I passed a copy of it on to you so you would have that. I think it's interesting, don't you? I would like to get someone, and I'll ask someone by and by to come and to sing all 5 stanzas for us. Wouldn't that be cool? And so, come on in, young lady. You're just welcome, and don't worry about it. We're home folks here, so you just be comfortable, and I'm going to tell you what we did a minute ago. And I'll give you a copy of these as I explain to it. This is a copy of the national anthem, all 5 stanzas. Okay, you'll need one of those. And then Operation People Power. In 2009, this is just for your information, this group assembled, and they talked about the Constitution. And they want to restore and maintain the Constitution. Now, we'll talk about some things tonight. That's this paper. It's called Operation Power People.
Is that when they, the ones that gathered in Illinois?
Yes.
Oh, I do know them. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Huh? And so you've got a copy of that to look at. It's very interesting because it has to do with our Constitution. Or you can have this one. And the only thing I said tonight, ma'am, that you might want to know is that I told everybody the Constitution is personal because it's my Constitution. And it's your Constitution. It should be personal to you. I gave the folks also a copy of this year's expenditures from our federal government up through 2010, the first quarter, and those figures on there. I can't even read some of them. They got so big, astronomical figures on there. Like, look how much is going to Afghanistan. I can't even read that many digits. Can you? No. I know it's a lot of money, and
Is this in order of the most to the least?
no, I don't. Well, I don't think so. I think they just vary them down through there. Okay. But anyway, I wish I knew because I couldn't even read the numbers to make them out. So now I went units. Was it units? Hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, million. What y'all help me on? What's next? Millions? We're talking about figures that I don't deal with all the time. The next thing that I gave y'all is a copy of The War is Inevitable. Now, did y'all figure out who wrote that? Did y'all figure out who wrote that? Let me read the last sentence. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry peace, peace, but there is no peace. Have you seen that in the Bible before? Yeah. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we idle? What is that gentleman with? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to purchase at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what other courses may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Do y'all feel that way about it? Now, I gave you also a citizenship test. First question is, what is one of the what is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? If y'all didn't figure it out, the answer is down here at the bottom. Okay. I snuck that one in on y'all. I'm pretty sneaky. So the first one down there, all you got to look down there, is speech, religion, assembly, press, and petition the government. How many amendments does the Constitution have? 27. Good going. The answer's right down there. How many voting members are in the U.S. House of Representatives? 435. Very good. Look, the answer's right down there at the bottom. In what month do we vote for president? November. Who is currently the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? John Roberts. Should we replace him? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Who is currently the Speaker of the House of Representatives? Replace him. Who was the first Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives? Frederick Muhlenberg. And his brother Peter. And Peter was commissioned, interesting, Peter was commissioned by George Washington to lead the army. And both of them were ministers. And Lutheran and the other ministers, both of them were ministers. And he was preaching a sermon. And out of that sermon he said, there's a time to grow. That's kind of Ecclesiastes. And he says there's a time for war. And he said this is the time for war. He pulled off his cloak. He had a colonel's uniform on. He led the one of the Continental Congress brigades. What can y'all remember what it was? I can't remember what it was, but anyway, he led them. And so he was the first Speaker of the House, and he was a minister. His statue is in the White House today, and so is his brothers. Okay, who do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Pardon? Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson. Name one of the two largest rivers in the United States. What does that got to do with our Constitution? And what war was President Eisenhower general? You got it. So that's pretty good. Pardon? Mississippi, Missouri. Yeah, Mississippi and Missouri were the two longest rivers.
They longer than the Rio Grande?
No, in the United States.
Well,
Rio Grande's in the United States.
Grande's in the United States.
Well,
It must.
Huh?
Okay. 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 Yeah. Anyway, check it out. If they're wrong, we can write them and tell them they got the wrong answer. Okay, you have a sample test to become a U.S. citizen. Go grab your microphone. Grab your microphone. Get your microphone. There you go.
This number 7, what do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? the people who were in elementary school during World War II, do you remember every morning when you got in school you had to say the Pledge of Allegiance? Do you remember what you did? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, we didn't have under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
You pointed, you had to hold your thumb and your little finger because they taught you how to do that.
That is cool.
And did that. And you know why we stopped it?
Why?
Because of the Heil Hitler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, the sample test, Become a Citizen. I'm going to let you deal with that because we're going to answer most of those tonight. Now, the next two documents you want to keep tonight, and to keep it with you all the time, the Constitution Explained, because this just gives you a real brief preview of the Constitution. You can look at these articles, or you can look at the little hand Constitution I'm going to give you in a moment. The second one, you're going to love this. I put this top page on there first because it gives you questions, but it's a test. It's an immigration test, and there's 100 questions, and the answers are on it, okay? So you got the questions and the answers on that. So these things you can use. When you want to talk about the Constitution, ask questions, you've got so much of it right there at hand real quick to get to. The Constitution Explained is just a good little article to have. Now, I give you these. I didn't give you the. My goodness, young lady, I've let down on my job there. I apologize for that. There's this one and this one. You'll need those. And then, where's our little constitutions? Chad, would you hand me one of those hand constitutions? All of you got one? All of you got the little hand constitution? Would y'all pass that up to me, please? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Now, last week we took up an offering and we bought 100 of these little constitutions to be given out to people. So that's a little hand constitution. Actually, this would take the place of that, but this is on a sheet in big letters.
I have a bunch of
Do you? Okay, good. We try to give them away to all the people we can when we can. Okay, that kind of brings us up to to where we're at. And looking at, I can't. These figures that our government has already spent are astounding. It just blows your mind when you look at it. And so, what is one of the freedoms of our speech? Sorry about that. So I was looking at this question. And the sample test, I've got my sheet right here so I could go through it. And now then, tonight we're going to take just a short review of the Declaration of Independence. We covered it last time. We take a short review. We're going to talk about the grievances just very shortly and some other things as we go through our study tonight. And so, what was the strongest grievance against King George III in the Declaration of Independence? Taxation without representation. That's right here on my list. The other was what? He plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our towns, and destroyed the lives of people. Matter of fact, when they had the Boston Tea Party, we kind of laugh about it sometime. But after we start looking at what happened, do we laugh anymore? No, because King George shut down the town, locked up the ports, and actually cut off the food supply to Massachusetts, to where those people actually starved for a period of time in there before that they got any relief. Thank goodness the colonies came to the rescue, said we're standing with Massachusetts. And so then the war began, so we started fighting. And he has abrogated government here. So he declared that that the colonies were no longer under his protection. And so they enumerated the list. They said, okay, there are several. First of all, Parliament would not let them make any decisions, so they had the time previously to have a place in Parliament, but they have a part in the decision making. They cut that out. He would not let them have judges in the Declaration, in the declaration of it, and said the king was responsible for the fact of the people's homes, and they were burned, destroyed, thus and such, and it just went on and on and on and on. And we talked about last time how many atrocities King George placed. Come on in if y'all want this Constitution study. Come on in, find your seat there, and we'll get you lined out on stuff in just a moment. And so the king was very, very, very mean, and it was no fun to be starved. How would you like to be trying to feed your kids in that time and there's no food? Matter of fact, today, if the food supply was to be cut off, how many days of food do we have at the stores? No. Maybe 3 days. Maybe 3 days, yeah. So if our trucks stop running and something happens, the government decides to shut us down, it won't take them long to starve us out. What's going to happen then?
Riot.
We're going to get mad and fight, aren't we?
Yes, we will.
Yeah, and maybe we might already get mad before that, but usually we don't do that.